Hello everyone, DM Gashbad here, and I have got another set of battle reports for you guys. Friend came in again. We're going to play our 500 point Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition games, so let's get straight into it. This first game is going to be my new-ish vampire counts. So I've been slowly building up a vampire counts over a long period of time. I've mentioned this before. I've been trying to get the models for the Blood of Sigmar campaign together. I've probably been telling you this for like a year and it still hasn't happened. I'm still working on it. I get distracted every so often, but we're still going. Anyway, here's some more models that I have painted up for this group. I have a Necromancer, level 2, that's Ethric Crowfather. So the idea behind this army that I'm building up is that it's either one of two things, and I'm not interested in sharing which of these it is. It's either a person who has been cursed with undeath by the god Morr in order to do his work on the Warhammer world. So they're all servants of the god of death. Or it's a priest of Morr who has been turned into an undead creature, a vampire or whatnot, and he simply thinks that he's serving the god of death. In any event, it shaped his entire army, so instead of the traditional vampire counts units, you have groups that look like various servants of death. So, for example, my Necromancer level 2, that's my Ethric Crowfather. He's kind of painted up to look like he was a former amethyst wizard, you know, the wizards of the wind of death, that kind of thing. So he's got his purple robes and his crow and all that. Anyway, he's got 21 ghouls. Those are the Dwellers Beyond. So I like the image from some movies like Ghost or whatnot, where these shadows come up and claim the souls and drag them down below. There's even an old spell of that name, the Dwellers Below. So these are the Dwellers Beyond. Boy, those were quick to paint. Let me tell you, those are the fastest paint jobs I ever had. I wanted no highlighting on any of these guys. They're just straight black. They're a little bit glossy because, of course, they use the protective coat on them. But, you know, so the only thing I actually painted on them was the various bones and things that they're holding and, of course, their eyes. And you can see the little diorama base that I've got in the middle there, which is all them crawling out of this shadowy pit, kind of like the Dwellers Below spell. But moving on, we have the Stygian Fairy. That's my corpse cart. We have 5 dire wolves. Those are the Grim Omens. One of them has the Doomed Wolf. You can see the 3-headed Cerberus guy there, and I've got 5 more Grim Omens without an upgrade there. So you might think this is kind of a questionable army list for 500 points, and you're right. It's mostly what I have painted. So I have a couple more things I could swap in and out, but honestly, this is about it. I don't feel too terrible about this. I feel like it's an okay army list, or at least I'm excited to try it. On my opponent's side, we have his Wood Elves. In the middle there, that's a Spell Singer, that's level 2. He got for his spells the Soul Quench, that's the default spell. It just blasts people, it's kind of like an awesome fireball. And he's got the Coruscation of Fenrir, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce all that. Anyway, it's the thing that causes a strength 4 hit to everyone in the unit and then remains in play and keeps burning up the unit in turns after. He's got 11 Glade Guards, so the Wood Elf Archers with no upgrades on his left. On his right, he's got 3 Treekin, and over on the flanks, he has 2 Great Eagles. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wasn't exactly thrilled to see this army. I wasn't very excited about this. First of all, my opponent has tons of Warhammer armies. He's got Beasts of Chaos, he's got Demons of Chaos, I think he's got Warriors of Chaos, Vampire Counts, Orcs and Goblins. He has a lot of different stuff. And the thing is, I've seen this army before. He brought this army for one of these 500-point game days a while ago. The only difference is that he's taken out his combat unit, he's taken out his War Dancers, and he's put in another Great Eagle. And the thing is it's basically just a magic and shooting gun line. It's a 500-point gun line with a bunch of magic, bunch of shooting, with a counterpunching Treekin army, so counterpunching unit of monstrous infantry, and then 2 redirectors, or just pretty points efficient, fast models in and of themselves. So the thing about gun lines is that they don't always work. You know, there's especially for a small point game like this. There are hard counters to this. There are armies that a gun line is just not going to have a whole lot of hope against. The thing is that when they do work, it is really not very fun for your opponent. So if he gets run down, it can be if I get in there and I get a good fight going, it can be a really fun, entertaining game. If I don't, if his diverters work, if his magic and shooting work and all that kind of thing, then I'm just going to spend the whole game walking forward, getting killed, and not doing much in return. And that's pretty much true of any gun line. So it's not to say that it's completely unbalanced or unbeatable or anything like that, but when it goes off, it is it's not the greatest experience for the person on the receiving end of it. Now, I did tell this to him, and he watches these videos, so I want to be, I don't want to be down on him or anything. But the thing is, I realized later I should have taken this in context. See, the last time he came down, and if you haven't watched my other videos, maybe you want to watch those first or whatever, but the last time he came down, I won all the games. So thinking about that later on, I'm like, you know what? He kind of let him have this. It worked pretty well for him before. He's tuned it up a little bit. I should have been more understanding. I should have said, all right, let's, I'm owed a good punch in the face here. But anyway, I've got undead. They can regrow their stuff. The combat units are pretty good. The ghouls with their poison attacks, I think, will be pretty good against those treekin. So let's see how this game goes. Here is the battlefield right here. So a couple of things to note. We, of course, roll D3 plus 2 pieces of terrain. That's half of what a normal Warhammer Fantasy game will have. It's also played on a 4x4 as opposed to a 6x4 or 4x8. So it's smaller board, less terrain. The first piece of terrain we roll up is a river. Now, usually when we roll up a river, we say, re-roll it. They're not that much fun to game with. No one wants to go on a river. They kind of just cut off a certain section of the board. But this time we said, you know what? I have a river painted. Let's actually use this river. Let's just see what it's like. So we put a river in there. We have a charnel pit. Now deploying that, there's all kinds of advantages for undead. It's -1 leadership to troops within 6 inches of it, and I get a 6+ regeneration. So my opponent didn't want that anywhere near me, so he tucked that way in the corner. You can see he's got a free woods. Wood elves just get a forest for free. They can place it wherever they want. And we have a couple of wall sections. Those are blessered bulwarks. So if my guys are in contact with it, they have their initiative or something inconsequential like that. It's not going to make much difference. But they are walls. They give cover. There's penalties to troops that are charging across them, that kind of thing. Anyway, that's me on the bottom. You can see I deployed my corpse cart and my ghouls centrally. My level 2 necromancer is inside the ghouls. It's not a great place. The idea is that he is going to jump ship when the combat starts. I can't leave him out on his own because he's just going to die. There's no lookouts for magic. He can just get blown up right away. So, and of course there's a bunch of eagles that can hunt him down. It's not a great army for him to face when he doesn't have a nice safe bunker unit. This is after my Vanguard moves from my direwolves. I don't know that this was a fantastic idea. We're a little rusty. I haven't played this game in a while, and so I went and Vanguarded my wolves up really fast. I was thinking maybe if I got the first turn that I'd be able to get the jump on those eagles and charge them. I can't do that. If I Vanguard, I can't charge in the first turn, but it's not a horrible idea anyway to get these guys moving up, put a little pressure on that group of archers with the wizard that you can see inside the woods there. And if I do get the first turn, hopefully I can either redeploy or get out of the charge arcs of those eagles. Of course, the other thing, this is the first time I've played vampire counts, by the way. I forgot that these guys can't march if they're not within 12 inches of my general, and you see the ones on the right, they're way far out of that. Also, they're not fast cav. Goblin Wolf Riders are fast cav, but dire wolves are not. And so these guys don't get the free reform and stuff like that. They're war beasts, so they have to move like a normal unit. So this is a learning experience for me. In the end, I'm not in a horrible position, but it maybe wouldn't be what I would do if I'd had a little bit more experience or with the benefit of hindsight or that kind of thing. Anyway, you can see his eagles are out on the flank and his treekin are kind of dead center to the right of those woods. So I do not get the first turn, so I don't have to look like an idiot declaring a charge when I couldn't have. So my opponent gets the first turn, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to charge his Great Eagle into my direwolves there. He's going to take them out of the game. That's not really a big deal. I don't think that these direwolves have a great target. They're not going to do anything to the treekin. They're not really going to threaten that unit of archers with their always strikes first and all that kind of thing. So, maybe distracting these eagles are the best thing that these guys can do. And speaking of which, here comes the other eagle. It's going to charge my other unit of dire wolves. This is the one without the Doom Wolf in it. He's going to have to charge over that barricade, that Blessed Bulwark. So I'm not in contact with that, so I don't have my initiative, not that it makes a difference. But it does mean that on this first turn, this eagle has a -1 to hit, which isn't bad. So in further moves, he's going to touch his Wood Elves forward a little bit. He needs to get in range of some of his spells because they actually don't have a fantastic range. And his Treekin are going to move up in contact with that wall. So partially because of spells and partially from dispelling or what have you, he doesn't get any good spells off this round. We go straight into combat because, like I said, we're rusty. Shooting should have come next. We're kind of mixing around the order. It's not going to make a difference. We'll sort it out later. Anyway, let's go to the combat over on the right. So first thing first, that Great Eagle is going to attack. Now the Great Eagle only has 2 attacks plus a stomp. So it's good. It's strength 4 and it's weapon skill 5. So it's plenty good. But it is subject to rolling badly. You can kind of flub your rolls. And that's, in fact, what my opponent did here. So he manages to kill off my Doom Wolf, which isn't great. But then I'm going to strike back and I'm going to cause 2 wounds to this eagle. And his stomp is not going to wound. And so we've actually tied this combat here. So that was a lot luckier than I had any right to get. He may have failed his fear test on this as well. The Eagles have a good leadership. They've got leadership 8. But I think he fails a lot of leadership tests with these Eagles. And so here we have much the same thing. Now again, this eagle has a -1 to hit. I think this eagle did pass its fear test, but it doesn't cause any wounds whatsoever. So it completely flubs its attacks, including its stomp. I, fortunately for my opponent, don't cause any damage back to him. And since he charged, I do lose 1 wolf due to crumbling. But this was a pretty poor round of rolling for my opponent. Now, if this guy had done a little worse, if I'd killed one of these things, or if I'd broken him, then that would have been really nice. But still, it was not a great set of dice for my opponent on this first round. We're going to go to shooting now because we put it out of order and it should have come earlier, but that's okay. So his Glade Guard are going to open up on my ghouls and they're going to kill one of them. So it's my turn, and I don't see any reason to just hang around waiting for people to blast me with magic. So that corpse cart can only move 4 inches, and it can't march because it's a chariot. But the ghouls are going to truck forward a little bit faster. If those dire wolves can hang out a little bit longer, maybe I can go and support them, or, you know, it's not going to help me hanging back, so I might as well move forward as quickly as possible. I've also got Van Hell's Dance Macabre in my magic book, so maybe I can move a little bit further and really put the pressure on. Hey, speaking of which, let's go to the magic phase. So I get a 10 dice magic phase, and I'm going to start off with the Invocation of Nehek. That's the one that heals units nearby. So I'm going to throw 4 dice on that, and I get a double 6. So I irresistible force that. Okay, well, you know, that's not ideal, but let's see how it goes. So obviously I'm going to heal the 1 dire wolf off to my left, and I'm going to heal the 1 ghoul in my ghoul unit, and then I'm going to get the result that drains away my magic levels. And sure enough, I drain both my magic levels away, so I'm now a 0 level magic user, and that's not fantastic. So first spell of the game for my brand new vampire counts, I miscast, and now I don't get to cast any more spells, and of course I'm down 2 levels. When it comes to dispelling, it could be better. You know, I didn't blow myself up. You know, that would have been really terrible, but it could be better. So no Van Hell's Dance Macabre for me, no more magic period. So straight on into the hand-to-hand combat phase, and my opponent's luck continues to be garbage, and mine is going pretty well. He does no damage to those Doom Wolves, those Dire Wolves over on the right. I take off the last wound on that Great Eagle, so hey, already better than I expected from those guys. They're going to reform and try and stare hungrily at my opponent's flank. Over on the left, we have kind of more of the same. The Eagle, I think, fails its fear test again. My opponent was getting a little frustrated. So no wounds caused from the eagle, pretty unlucky. No wounds caused by me, so it's just a push. Hey, I will absolutely take that. So it is my opponent's turn, and he is going to go ahead and charge with his Treekin. So they're going to move up, and they're going to make it into contact with that ghoul unit. So here's where here's the problem with me leaving that necromancer in that ghoul unit. So this is obviously turn 2, and I had to move up, and so there was not much opportunity for me to leave this necromancer behind. So he's stuck into combat with these Treekin, and that is not where a squishy magic user wants to be, especially if my army starts dying when he falls. So I may really want to invest in some kind of bunker unit with this guy moving forward. The Glade Guard don't have anything else to shoot at, or magic for that matter, because all of his stuff doesn't affect things in hand-to-hand combat. So he's going to shuffle off to the right there, and he's going to face down those 4 Doom Wolves, or excuse me, I keep wanting to call them Doom Wolves. He's going to face off on those Dire Wolves coming down the right-hand side. He, again, is not going to get any magic off this round. I don't know if it's because I managed to dispel it with a double 6. I think that might be the case. He went for the big coruscation spell, and I got a double 6 to dispel it. But in any event, again, my opponent's luck is not great. Anyway, we're going to go on to hand-to-hand combat phase, because again, we're switching the order of the shooting phase. So a little bit more action on this side. The Great Eagle is going to kill 1 Dire Wolf, and I'm going to cause 1 wound to the Great Eagle. So again, we're tying things up here. This is maybe not so great, though. So both of us cause fear, so that's not an issue. And my opponent is a gentleman about this. He decides not to put his attacks into the Necromancer. He wants to make more of a game out of this. Those Treekin could have absolutely squished this guy right away, and that would have been the game right there. But he decides he's gonna make this a little bit more challenging on himself. So he's just going to strike the ghouls. Now, he does pretty well on this first round of combat. He's going to go and he's going to kill 6 ghouls. I believe he's going to take 1 wound in return, and 3 more ghouls are going to crumble away because of combat resolution. So his unit is barely hurt, and I have lost a gigantic chunk of my main combat block. So that did not go great. These Treekin, no one particularly likes the Treekin in larger games, I don't think. They don't hit particularly hard. They're only strength 4. So if they meet what you would consider a big combat unit in a 2,000 point game, then they're not going to do a whole lot, and they're probably going to lose from combat resolution. However, in these smaller games, they're toughness 5 with a 4-up armor save and a 6-up ward, so they're really hard to hurt. And strength 4 is not that big a deal when you're dealing with stuff that you're going to see in a 500 point game. So they're good. They're good at this points level. And of course, here's the shooting phase that we accidentally put after the combat phase. He's going to open fire on those Dire Wolves, and he's going to kill 2 of them. Okay, it's my turn. I need that corpse cart to get in there and save my bacon. So it's going to make its charge. It's going to get its impact hits. We'll see what this thing can do, because this is the first time I've used this piece of equipment. I'm going to move those Dire Wolves across that river. Again, I can't march because I'm too far away from my general. So I touch the river, we roll to see what this mysterious river is, and it's boiling water. So any unit in there at the end of its movement phase takes a strength 4 hit for each model in there. So I'm kind of stuck. Because I can't charge, and because I'm not fast cav, I can't reform, turn around, and go back, and I also can't, I don't have enough distance to get all the way across the water. So I've got no choice but to sort of brave this boiling water and try and, I'm going to end up halfway in it at the end of my movement phase. So I'm going to take 2 strength 4 hits, and they're both going to wound, and so my poor dogs get boiled alive or boiled undead inside this terrible river. And I guess that's why we don't play with rivers. So that was pretty funny, but it's also a shame. So I'm not going to cause any damage to the eagle. The eagle is going to kill 1 of my wolves, which means another one is going to die because of combat resolution. And in the main combat, I'm only going to cause 2 impact hits, which is a little disappointing, and neither of them are going to hurt these Treekin. They're going to swing back, and they are going to kill 3 of my ghouls, which is probably a little bit underperforming. I am going to strike back, and I'm going to manage to get 2 wounds through on the Treekin, and so that's going to actually pull 1 of them down, which is nice. The Treekin are going to lose by 1, but they are going to hold. So it's the next turn, and there's going to be no movement except for the Glade Guard just shuffling back again to face my lines now that those wolves are no longer a threat. There's going to be no shooting because there's nothing to shoot at. There's going to be no magic because there's nothing to magic. And we're going to go straight on to hand-to-hand combat. And finally, the eagle gets a handle on how to fight these dire wolves and kills both of them. It's going to reform to face my big ghoul block. In the big combat, these Treekin are going to kill 3 of my ghouls, which is about average. They're going to take 1 wound in return, which again is about what you would expect. And that means I'm going to lose by 1. So I'm going to crumble 1 more ghoul, and the corpse card is going to take 1 point of damage. So it's back to my turn. Again, I don't have anything to do. I've just got those 2 units in combat there. So I am going to die, is what it comes down to. The Treekin are going to kill 3 more ghouls. They're going to take no damage in return. That means they are going to win by 3. That is exactly what it needs to wipe out all of my ghouls and my corpse cart. Well, An ordinary person would call it right there. I've just got my necromancer in combat. He's got almost his entire army. They would say, you know what, that's enough. No, we are going to finish this thing up. It's back to my opponent's turn. He's going to charge in with that great eagle, and nom nom nom, he just gobbles up my necromancer. So that is it. I didn't get completely skunked here. I at least pulled down one great eagle in the course of all this. But it was a pretty mighty loss. I don't think my opponent, despite really pretty appalling luck through a big chunk of the game, I don't know, did he get any spells off? I don't think he got any spells off. Not that, he kind of ran out of targets like after turn 2. Yeah, his eagles did very poorly against the dire wolf, so his dice really tried to mess this game up for him, but he still stomped his way through it. If I have a chance to reconfigure this army, I might change a couple things, do a little better, but this is how it played out for the time being. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below if you feel so inclined, and I will see you on the next one.